What's up, my fellow lionesses and lions? Welcome to the Project Lioness podcast, where we are here to disrupt the mainstream narrative when it comes to health, holism, and human consciousness. We are here to share bold truths about health and life from a female perspective. This episode is brought to you by our team, Inspire Co., where we stand for your health being inspired by choice rather than being inhibited by chance. Thank you for being here and joining in on these raw, real, and powerful conversations. We hope our show brings you inspiration and empowerment to overcome challenges, reclaim your life, and ultimately pursue your mission with power, purpose, and play. Now, let's get into the episode. Welcome back, everyone, to the Project Lioness podcast. This is your host, Dr. Mel, and today in this episode, I am joined by, yet again, Michael.
Hello.
If you guys don't know, Michael's my brother, as well as my business partner. If you've watched and listened to most of our episodes, then you probably know this by now. So we are doing a life update episode, as well as talking about the layers and levels of mentorship and how to hire proper mentors in your life and how to become a mentor. If you are someone who is a coach, a healer, a leader, an entrepreneur, and you're working with people, we thought it would be fun to talk about the layers and levels of mentorship. So welcome, Michael.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's always good to be back here at Inspire Life Chiropractic Center, where we stand for health being inspired by choice.
What's new in your life?
So if you don't remember, if you haven't listened to our previous episodes, I'm a board certified health coach as well as personal trainer, and I do 6-month programs really focused on helping people increase their energy, lose weight, build muscle mass, and just completely transform their consciousness when it comes to health. My program, the way I speak about it is it's a 6-month program that sets you up for 6 decades of growth and health and vitality. So I have a cohort that is graduating officially on Tuesday. Excited about that. 12 folks who came through the program. A lot of great results, a lot of people achieving weight loss goals, which we're going to talk about today when it comes to membership or mentorship. But also it's way beyond that. Clients finding a lot of ease and just transforming their relationship with food, which is a big one, which again, we'll talk about in a bit. Clients establishing fitness routines and things that serve them well, and just ultimately a lot of growth and a lot of fun at the same time for a lot of clients. So that's what's going on. I play a lot of golf. My golf game feels like it's an absolute shambles right now. I cannot find the fairway, everyone. It's just frustrating. As a 8.2 handicap, I have to, make 12-foot par putts, and you don't seem interested in this conversation.
I'm just holding space and listening.
Golf is one of my highest values and passions, and I am going to be modest and say I'm an above average golfer. And
that's true.
Historically, I'm around a 7 handicap, but this year it's been weird. I just can't. It just hasn't been there. So I don't know. Maybe I should go practice. I just go play. I never practice. So maybe I need a mentor.
Yeah, we're talking about mentorship today. Sounds like you need to walk your own talk.
Yeah, I got to do something about that. But no, it's good. It's summer. The boys' summer camps are officially over. So now they're just having 1 month of free kid summer for a 10 and 12-year-old, which is fantastic for them.
Kid.
Jess is doing well. She's got some exciting things coming up as well. We're getting married in September, I guess.
I was going to say, you're going to talk about that you're getting married.
That's exciting for both of us. We're getting married on September 28th. We're going to Arizona the next morning. I'm excited for both of those events. And we've got some other fun stuff coming up. I'm a part of a men's group, and we're hosting a retreat in October, the week after I go to Arizona. That's going to be near Charlottesville, Virginia, kind of outside of there. And then the gala for that group in December. And then Costa Rica is already coming up. Can you believe that? It's like,
I know.
What, 6 months away, 7 months away, just about? So
depending on when you listen to this episode or when it comes out. Yeah, it's March.
Yeah, March 2nd to the 9th, 2025. Yep. What do we have, 7 spots left?
As of this episode, recording it, maybe not when we release it, but we'll put the link in the show notes.
I think we have someone else who's about to sign up, actually. So probably 6 or 7, but yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Inspire Co. is growing. Our business and alignment accelerator is a ton of fun. I've been really enjoying doing that and diving in. And actually, we're not even a topic we're going to dive into today, but I've also been paring down and cutting down on some of the other projects and things that I will say I'm very blessed and happy that people see the value of what I provide in the work that I do. And I've had a lot of different opportunities coming my way. And I have historically said yes, because I like to help people. And I'm also getting to a point where it's too much. It's not in alignment with the bigger vision. So just this past week, I told another person who I've been doing some work for and helping them out with some of their business goals that it's just not serving me. So that feels really good. Last week was rough because I had just so many different projects and things I was working on, and I just hit this point and I'm like, I gotta cut some stuff out. So that's what I did. Feels good.
Well, and that's part of also, if you hire a mentor, knowing and sharing with them what your goals truly are, what your vision and mission is, to keep you and hold you accountable. Because in entrepreneurship, it can be really easy to say yes to a lot of different things. And it's shiny object syndrome. Like, if you can focus on, the top 3 to 5 things and just do it better and better and better and make more money or serve more people that way rather than to get distracted, that's the way you build an empire in a company.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting too, because again, like I said, I'm very grateful to have these opportunities, but it's also a form of resistance, which we've talked about in former episodes of this podcast, wherein you have opportunities that come up that seem really great, but they're not aligned with your vision. And it's kind of, the universe is trying to teach you that you have to be able to say no, which I am getting better at doing.
Yeah. So. And you also, I think, help a lot of people, like personally in life. And also that requires practice of knowing your values. And just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Just because you can help people doesn't mean you have to, because of maybe you have old tendencies of like people pleasing, or you feel guilty if you don't. And it's like, they'll figure it out.
For sure. What's funny though, when you're so aligned with your vision, because my mission is to improve and just transform the health of humankind. So I actually have created a free online community, which I know you're a part of. And it's funny, I don't get paid for that, but I enjoy going in there and answering people's questions and helping people out more than these like one-off contracts where maybe I'm getting paid, $1,000 or $2,000 to do, honestly, bitch work. Oh, sorry, I swore. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So just like doing bitch work for other people and getting paid to do it. I'd rather do stuff for free that's aligned with my vision. Also knowing that it's investing time now that will pay off later, not just in me being compensated, but also growth in other areas. But yeah, it's really interesting to, you've seen me interact in that group. I love it. I'm obsessed. I checked school, like, I don't know. It's fun. I enjoy it. So yeah, being able to have discernment and recognizing that, the shiny objects, just because you're getting paid to do something doesn't mean that you should be doing it.
Well, there's different, sources of like currency that you can experience. It's not just revenue, but sometimes the outcome happens in a community grows by 10 people, but then that leads to a client down the road. But that's how you can optimize your current business rather than go start a bunch of new ones. I think that's probably in the book that you're reading. It sounds like 2X is better, or 10X is better than 2X.
Yeah, 10X is easier than 2X by Ben Hardy, I think is the name, and Dan Sullivan. Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
We're not going to talk about that necessarily today, but for those of you who are in the entrepreneurial space, we definitely recommend having mentors, whether you see us as mentors or you listen to people, you read these books, but being able to discern like what kind of mentor do you need, and knowing how to hire the right mentor and also become the right mentor requires different awarenesses, and working with people who have actually walked the talk or talked the walk, or both.
Walk the walk?
Walk the walk, walk the talk, whatever, of what you're creating. Because I think there's a lot of people out there who say that they've done things, but they don't actually disclose the realness behind the scenes, which is why I wanted to bring Michael back on, is like, let's talk about this. And then in the next episode we're going to talk about specifically what I'm calling business by design, and like steps you can take to open more of a brick and mortar. But first we're going to talk about mentorship and the importance of knowing the different layers and levels of mentorship. And I'll have you guide this conversation as far as those, and I'll chime in.
Yeah, definitely. So this framework actually comes from the book Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. If you are in the entrepreneurial space, if you're starting a business, if you have an established business, a book that I would highly recommend. And it's funny, I've read probably 20 self-help books in the last 18 months, and each one has its own takeaways. I understand that reading books, the quantity of books, sometimes you want to get further depth, and there are certain books that I've read more than once. One of those being Hormozi's book, $100 Million Leads. But there is something that you're going to take from every book, from every time that you read it. And this framework that I took was literally like 3/4 of a page, and it was his thoughts and his perspectives on mentorship and where you're going to get the most value out of mentorship and or coaching, right? You can kind of use those terms interchangeably here. So he talks about the TWA, so the 3 different types of mentors that you can work with. So the first is T, which is theory, then W is witness, and then A is application. So and I want to preface this by saying every type of mentor can have and does have different types of benefits, and some might be more impactful for you than others.
And different parts of your journey.
Yeah.
Like when I think about theory, for example, when I went to chiropractic school, there's a lot of teachers teaching about chiropractic philosophy, chiropractic application, but a lot of them either one rarely practiced or they were never in business.
For sure.
And it's like, cool, I can respect you as a doctor and like the theories of medicine or, chiropractic holistic care. But have you really applied this as a business owner?
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah. So the theory, obviously Dr. Mel kind of alluded to it, but a theory mentor is someone who understands maybe the principles, the strategies, maybe even the science, has an understanding of like the functions and what is supposed to go into whatever type of change or transformation or growth you're trying to achieve, but they haven't necessarily done it themselves. And my framework for this, being a board certified health coach, specifically someone who is a world-class expert in fat loss, it would be someone who is maybe they're a dietitian, maybe they have a PhD in nutrition science, could even be kinesiology or a trainer, but someone who just has done all of the learning. They've never maybe worked with someone or worked with clients or even witnessed that transformation, specifically, let's say 100 pounds of weight loss. Maybe they've worked with people who have done like 10 to 20 pounds, but never 100, if that's like our goal that we're going for. And they have all the knowing and the wherewithal, and they've learned all these things, but they know it in theory, right? So they've done a lot of learning, but haven't necessarily seen it and or done it themselves, right? So that'd be theory.
I feel like that's also textbook.
Yeah.
Like you can learn from a textbook and you can learn, what we know to be true in science, but okay, then what happens next? So I see it as like, knowing the textbook stuff.
And like I said, there are benefits to every type. So I think with theory, a benefit to working with someone who is more of a theory-focused mentor is if you are more anecdotally based and you've done things kind of intuitively, they might have more information like, yes, I understand ATP and the Krebs cycle and stuff, but maybe they'll be able to help you understand it at a different level that changes your relationship with the types of foods you eat. Maybe they'll understand things like, I personally am an application as well as I would say theory and witness and the way that I work as a mentor with health coaching, but maybe someone who's done it, but they don't understand all the science. They don't understand that, okay, if I'm going for strength gains, I'm looking to 1 to 5 reps. And they could help you if you're trying to get stronger, understand to maybe change your rep scheme on working out or whatever it may be, right? So sometimes working with someone who is just theory-based, it can have some benefits, at least for understanding and learning the actual science, right? Rather than having to read all the books yourself.
And this is why it's important. Like for me, I have to do 20 hours of continuing education every single year. I know you have some to do, right?
36 every 3 years.
Every 3 years. And so part of that is like, if you're on the side of being the mentor and you work within these realms, maybe you're getting, you're blocked with your client results. Maybe you need to go back to theory and learn some of the nuances coming through in your profession that then you can apply for a client or something like that. Or as a doctor, so much research is coming out about like the brain and heart rate variability. And so for me, it's like, okay, I've applied now let's go back and look at the new theories that are coming out when it comes to health and well-being from a sustainable perspective, for example. So you can as you listen to us talk, you can put yourself in these different vantage points of either you're being mentored and you're working with mentors, and or maybe you are a mentor or a guide or a leader and you work with clients or patients or whatever you call them, practice members, and you can see this from both angles. Like if you're starting to get blockages in certain areas, maybe you need to go back to one of these sectors and really work that, which is why I'm doing trainings all the time. You guys know this, like I love learning, I love teaching, it's my highest value. And I love to learn the new things that are coming out about health and well-being and healing and all of that, so that I can, one, be a witness to someone else, but also then apply it, which we'll get to those next layers and levels.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just going to reflect that. This can be used both for seeking mentorship and if you're doing mentorship yourself.
Yeah.
So the next one is witness. So again, going back to my framework, if we're losing 100 pounds, this would be potentially a coach, a trainer, someone who understands the science, and they've either helped other people do it or they've witnessed it happen, right? So
almost like an intern.
Yeah, kind of like an intern. I mean, it could be, if you were looking at a business sense, it would be, we'll say Dr. Erin, for example. So she's witnessed Inspire Life see this amount of growth, maybe in revenue and practice members, that kind of stuff. She hasn't actually started the business herself, but she's witnessed it grow and understand some of what goes into it, right? And same with, like I was saying, you know, a lot of great fitness coaches out there maybe never were 100 pounds overweight, but they have witnessed and helped other people achieve this goal, but they haven't actually been there themselves, right?
So they have proximity to like a mentor actually applying it.
Yes, exactly. They've witnessed someone else do it, and that can be, again, in any realm. And that's what he mentions in the book is like, his example is it would be like a business executive or even an assistant who's witnessed someone start a company and go from, you know, 0 to whatever, 50 million a year, whatever it might be.
Well, that's a lot of what happens in chiropractic is like associates, if they truly do want to start a business, but they're not ready yet, they'll take on an associate to do that level of, get that level of mentoring, and then eventually start their own with, you know, systems and procedures they learned, or just being that proximity of what it actually takes is important if you're not ready to like full send it yourself when you graduate. Because again, I know a lot of chiropractors listen to this and all that.
For sure. Yeah, and I think, again, there's a lot of benefits to witness or working with someone who has been a witness and or witnessing it yourself, because there's just so much nuance to any sort of change you're trying to make, any sort of transformation. So being able to actually see it happen and work with someone who's seen it happen, again, they're going to have a deeper level of understanding than someone who's just maybe theory focused. So
I think to speak to more of that, it's important to, if you do see someone in your profession or your industry who's doing something that you want to create, how can you get in proximity to them? Does it mean that you intern with them? Do you apprentice with them? Do you hire them as a mentor and a coach to teach you how to then do it in your own way? I mean, I have a lot of clients where in the beginning, we were helping them grow their business or work on life things. And then they eventually are like, you know, I really feel called to step into doing what you're doing. Like, do you have some sort of, you know, method training program, or that's something I'm coming up with in 2025. But just, I think for those of you listening, ask the question, how can you get in proximity and be a witness to someone who is, again, creating what you want to create, and take a lot of notes. And I always tell this to my clients, don't just take notes on the theory of what they're saying, but watch how they're leading, watch how they're doing things. It's almost like the unsaid stuff, right? You can listen in a workshop of the content, but are you watching how they're being the master of like creating the experience, or leading on stage, or speaking on podcasts, or whatever it is? Just watching like the unsaid is kind of what I call it.
The unsaid. I love it. And again, mentorship, both seeking mentors and becoming a mentor or stepping into that for yourself. So that's witness, seeing it happen. And then third, obviously, is application. And that's when you find someone who has done all of the work themselves. And it's funny because, again, you can work with someone who maybe is an application, but they don't understand the theory and they've never witnessed it. I will say, when I initially started coaching, I had simply lost 150 pounds. People saw it on social media, and then they reached out to me for help. So application-wise, I knew what would work and what could help people, but I didn't have the theory or the witness yet, right? I'd never seen anyone else do it, and I didn't know a lot of the underpinnings of physiology and what goes into it. So I think when you find someone who is in the application stage, obviously they're going to be the best person to probably ask questions. Also understand that there is no one unique path to any end result, but ultimately if you can talk with and learn from and get homework from, whatever it may be, from someone who's actually walked the walk and done what it is that you're trying to do, they're probably going to have the most well-rounded and real world advice for you, right? Ideally, you find someone who, I would say myself with health coaching and weight loss, like I know the theory, I've helped dozens of people do it. I've done it myself. So I'm kind of all three, but especially if someone just has one, the application is great because again, they understand it from the real world perspective, not just reading books.
Yeah. And I think it's important what you said about the application to also consider what else they have applied in their life. For example, running a business while having for you stepkids or choosing different health strategies while also having a partner. Like, don't just look at one part of their life, look at it from a holistic viewpoint, and make sure that you're considering, okay, what's it like to do this, but how are they also balancing maybe family life, or maybe they're not balancing family life and they don't give a shit, right? Maybe that's not important to them. That's not high in their values. So really consider the holistic viewpoint of mentorship. I think that's something I'm seeing more and more come onto the scene is people want to work with people who it's like, okay, cool. You can help people make money, but can you also help them create a business that then aligns with their life and their values? And, I think balance can be an illusion at times, but we all have a set of values and you've got other things happening in your life that are probably important or meaningful to you. So what's it like to look at this from a holistic viewpoint and say, okay, they've done this. They've also simultaneously done this. That may pull you into that mentorship more because they can speak to perhaps the challenges that emerge when you've got other stuff behind the scenes that you're navigating. It's not just about like hitting numbers.
For sure. Yeah, that's a really good point that you made.
Thanks.
When it comes to application. Yeah, when
it's just something that just to speak on that for a second, it's something I've seen with a lot of people who have inquired and reaching out to me, or they have worked with mentors where they were super awesome at like building revenue, but their relationships were shit.
Yeah.
Or they didn't have the mental emotional capacity or nervous system regulation to hold the space when like really tough stuff would come up, for example.
For sure. Yeah. It speaks to the application. Obviously, if they have some sort of goal, finite game that you're trying to accomplish, and they've done that, but at what cost did they do it? And what other applications they do, right? Was their application, I grew my business to $500,000 a month in revenue, but I also applied, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I also applied not going to any of my kids' sporting events. I also applied not taking my wife on dates, right? So like that's all application too.
Yeah.
So I think what we're really talking about here is when you're looking for an application mentor, someone who has applied it, but they embody the lifestyle that you also want to live.
Yeah, that's it. Embodied.
Boom, there's your word.
Boom, embodied lifestyle. I know I was actually looking up like embodied entrepreneur, embodied coach or something on Instagram, which there is someone who has embodied entrepreneur, but they have like 3 followers. And I'm like, come on, bro.
Dude,
give me that fucking title.
Okay.
That's my really ego quick, talking though.
No, because I am creating a new website for the B2B business, and it's going to just be inspire.health. So instead of like .com, which is actually getting more popular. Totally. And so of course I went on Instagram and someone has inspire.health. They haven't posted since 2016. I messaged them 3 times. And I looked it up and like, there's no way to get.
Oh, you messaged them?
Oh yeah, 3 times.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think to do that. But
they haven't logged in for freaking 8 years.
Like they would have to deactivate the account for you to get that tag, to get that handle.
Obnoxious. Like, they literally have 3 posts.
I know.
You guys all go on Instagram and
message them.
Go to inspire.health, message them, maybe report them. I don't know if that works. No, okay.
Then also go to Embodied Entrepreneur and do the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I think, you said it perfectly, embodying the lifestyle. And if you don't have kids, if you don't have a partner, if you're like a solo bro and you're just going at it, like great, freaking own it. one of our things that we work on and teach our students in the Inspire Business and Alignment Accelerator is how to build your life and business without the chaos and in alignment with your values and not sacrifice your health and well-being. Like that's a key thing we focus on because we see so many entrepreneurs who are burnt out and they're resentful. And I often find that's, because of a couple things. One, it's how they're doing the business. They don't have systems and procedures. Like they love what they do, but they don't love how they're doing it. Number two, they solely just don't love the business they're in, but they feel stuck. They feel obligated. They feel like it's the only option when they haven't actually considered what their true values are. Like I see a lot of people go into business because they think it's going to be great, but then they don't realize what it takes. So they're just not inspired. It's usually like one of those two things, or it's a perception shift of like, maybe you need to lower your expectations, or you need to have a different mind frame around challenges, or lowering your ego or your fantasies that you have. But I think, it's important to consider, am I just doing this to make money? Am I actually fulfilled? Or can I truly live this embodied lifestyle? And again, that's something that we teach in our courses and stuff, in our own mentorship of how do you embody this? I had a woman that I just interviewed on the podcast, Brenda. She's like, how do you do all this? Like, I see that how do you do it all? And I was like, I don't. I delegate. And Michael and I have worked on that in our own different ways, and who does what and who owns what, and how can we cut out the stuff that doesn't matter and really focus on what matters. And I told her too, I was like, I say no to a lot of things, just like you were saying in the beginning, like you said no, so that you can really 10x the things that are truly working and truly matter.
Yeah. Yeah. We're diving into a different book now.
Which book is that?
10X is
the
easier than 2X. It might have to be a different podcast.
Yeah, we can do that. So bringing it back to mentorship then, what are, I don't know, we could go into this. What are some like red flags of mentors?
When a 23-year-old male fitness coach says that he can help perimenopausal women lose weight. Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
So you think it's really like truly embodying?
I do. I think especially in the health and fitness space, I think they're like with nutrition, for example, like I help a lot of my clients overcome like binge eating disorder and that kind of stuff. Again, I can't like work with diagnoses, so to say. You're not a therapist. But I help people actually do it because I've been there and I know how to ask them questions and help them reflect and help them do their own work on it. I think with mentorship, red flags would be, one, anyone who is making, I would say, promises, honestly, because anyone who's walked any sort of transformational walk knows that you can't promise anyone anything else because they're the ones who have to do the work.
Yes.
Again, I would say people who...
selling the hype.
Yeah, selling the hype. Like, I work 8 hours a week and I make $1 million a year. It's like, no, you don't. Like, that's internet culture. That's just not real. I would say... Trying to think. I didn't come prepared for this question.
I know that was like a random question I thought.
No, it's a good question though. Again, I would say, especially in the health and fitness space, if you have specific goals, like working with someone who's applied it and done it in their own life is powerful, or at least someone who works with that demographic and understands what it takes. Super important. I don't know. What do you think are red flags?
I would agree. Like really looking at has this person really embodied it from their own kind of
Actually, let me just jump in. I would say like actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
We've both worked with coaches and mentors who say one thing and do the opposite. So
correct.
I would say like, if I was out there teaching on what I call high frequency nutrition and eating whole real foods, and yet I'm stopping at McDonald's and Taco Bell every night, like that would be a huge red flag.
Yep.
Right. So, and that's just not my brand. Like I know other health coaches out there who are like, you can eat whatever you want, McDonald's and stuff. Right. So like, again, if you're witnessing someone who is acting different than what they're teaching you or coaching you on, that's a huge red flag, I would say.
Yeah. They're not walking their talk. There's a disconnect there. I would say coaches or mentors that are not willing to be humble and they are over promising and under delivering. That is something I have experienced and something that I have seen where there's like hype on, let's say, a sales call, and there's over promising and saying, it's almost like they're becoming the hero or the savior, and you think that they're going to just solve all of your problems. And it's like, again, a shiny object. Like, oh, just completely throwing it all at you versus giving you the power.
Yeah.
Giving you the ability and the tools and the strategies to learn how to do it yourself, and not super, again, over promising or getting you all hyped up on dopamine. We have a framework that we teach our students when it comes to being on those calls, whether you're receiving them or you're maybe onboarding a potential new client. We have a really, I think, a powerful way of how to guide someone through questions to consider if they are in the process of hiring someone, so that you come off as confident and you exude like, hey, I'm here and I'm a guide for you, but I'm not here to like solve all your problems right away. I'm going to teach you how to solve your own problems. I think that's the key in being any sort of coach or mentor, is not necessarily solving them, but teaching other people how to do it, because that's truly how you help people get their power back.
For sure.
But we have a framework that we walk people through step-by-step questions to ask on those phone calls within our IBAA.
Absolutely. And I kind of building off of that too. Mentorship isn't about telling someone what to do 100% of the time. Obviously, there's going to be education and there's going to be maybe action steps or certain things to consider, but it really needs to be like more of a dialogue, and you understand, or you learning about yourself and what's going to work best for you. Because again, there is no one size fits all for anything in life. So yeah, definitely having mentors who ask questions, who inquire, right? It's why we have a pretty extensive application process for IBAA. Like, we really want to get an understanding of where people are at so we can provide the best, value and direction, as well as asking them questions to help them grow. And yeah, you want to have mentors who are asking you questions, who are genuinely interested, right? Not just telling you what to do.
Yeah, that's more consulting, I think, is like,
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think sometimes you do need to be told what to do because you literally don't know what the next step is. But there comes a point where you've got to ask questions back to your clients or back to the students that you're mentoring to get them to discover the answer from within themselves. And also, another thing too is hiring mentors who check in on your progress. There's a fly in here, which you guys heard me say this in the last episode, and it's just great. They like to land on our faces when we're talking. The AC went out, so they're here now.
The AC went out in here?
The AC was out for like over a day in here.
That's why it's so hot.
Well, it should be working right now.
Sweating. Well, I know, but it's still hot.
It's hot in Minnesota. Yeah, progress checks. That's something, if you're a doctor, you're a coach, like, have checkpoints to be like, hey, assess the progress rather than just, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? Where are we going? I feel like we're just kind of all over the place. Like, let's reset, refocus. Where are you at and where are we going? What do we need to get rid of? What do we need to add? So having someone too, a mentor who isn't afraid, again, to be humble and be like, hey, listen, I think this is where we need to bring it back. I recognize this. So I think humility and humbleness and having a more embodied confidence is huge when working with a mentor, and someone who can admit when they're wrong. Like, hey, you know what? I might have said this. Here's new data that I've collected. Like, let's pivot.
Yeah.
Not being afraid to pivot.
For sure.
Important.
Yeah. Someone who has their ego in check.
Yes. Anything else as far as mentorship?
No, I think, without mentorship, I wouldn't be who I am today. You wouldn't be who you are today. We wouldn't be where we're at. And it's a really, really important thing. And it's important to be discerning with mentorship to make sure that you're getting, the right people.
And I think that if a mentor isn't willing to hop on a call or provide you some resources of how they work first, and they're so gatekept with their stuff, that to me might be a little bit of a red flag. Like, there's definitely people where you're not going to talk to Mark Cuban, but maybe you
Probably not.
Yeah, you're not going to talk directly to him, but I guarantee he has a ton of resources out there to help you for free before you even would start to work with him, if he is someone.
For sure.
But like, people who are so, I don't have time for you. I don't know. Again, you will eventually get to a point in mentorship where you won't talk to the person because they have so many other things, but that doesn't mean that you can't have access to like their teachings
For sure.
or their team to be like, is this a right fit or not? You know, we do a discovery call. Wow, I'm over these flies. We do a discovery call with every single student and I do this with all my clients too, and all of my practice members. I've delegated a lot of the discovery calls in the office now, but we connect with people 15, 20 minutes to be like, all right, what do you need? What are your problems? What are you looking to create? And here's what we offer. Here's not what we offer. And we're not afraid to be like, you know what, this doesn't sound like a good fit. I think you should go here. Right. But making sure that you, again, like you said, have your ego in check.
100%.
Michael's going to kill this fly. Last but not least, we are in open enrollment right now for Inspire Business and Alignment Accelerator, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in the next episode, but you guys have heard us talk about mentorship. Mentorship is probably the fastest way to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be, and having someone who's been there and who can help you speak into things that you don't even know are coming and be 10 steps ahead of you. And that's something that Michael and I have created in our program, which is a step-by-step process and guide to building your business, to starting your business, to sustaining your business, and ultimately scaling your business if you're there. And it's super fulfilling to me to give back to not only the profession, but other entrepreneurs who they want to grow, they have something inside of them, and sometimes they don't know those next steps from like a structure perspective or from a perception perspective, shifting your mind frame and ultimately having that community to lean on when things get tough. So at the time of this recording, we do have 5 spots left. That may change by the time you guys hear this. We do an open enrollment, and then once we get to a point of a number of students, we actually close it. And you have to apply to get into the next round, because we're really big on helping people get onboarded appropriately and help them get settled so they can be really successful. And there's not tons and tons of people enrolling at the same time. So it's really, at this point, like very personalized to your success and designed for those of you who are looking to go to that next level in your business and ultimately align your business and life with your values. So anything you want to speak on that?
No, it's a lot of fun too.
It is. So we'll drop the link to IBAA in the show notes, and you can check it out for yourself. This is not just for chiropractors, by the way. We do have chiropractors in there. We have therapists, we have health coaches, we have spiritual coaches. We have, what else do we have in there? We have a lot of different, we have golf coaches.
We have like business kind of consulting, systems and procedures type stuff. So
we've got a lot of different variety of business owners in there, which I think makes it really unique in the sense you get to learn from different industries. And as Michael said, we're really big on teaching you back to the mentorship model, theory and philosophy and principles of life and business, as well as how to actually witness us doing it, witness
we've both
others.
applied it as well.
And then, yes, we have definitely applied it and teaching you how to apply it in your own unique way. So we'll drop that in the show notes. And I think that's it for this episode.
Cool beans.
Cool beans. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the Project Lioness podcast. As always, peace, love, keep inspiring. We'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for joining the Project Lioness podcast. Did you find value in today's episode? Help us impact the lives of others by sharing this podcast with someone you know who would resonate and benefit from the Project Lioness message. Excited to hear more? We invite you to subscribe on whatever platform you're tuning in on. And we'd be so grateful for you to leave us a review about what you enjoy most, as well as what you'd like to hear more of. Thank you so much for all of your support. Sincerely yours in power, purpose, and play. Dr. Mel with the Project Lioness podcast. Keep rising, keep roaring, and keep inspiring.